Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to day 4 of National Graduate Week, which is brought to you by Career Map. For those of you who don't know me by now, my name is Heather Reynolds. I'm Career Map Account Director and Head of National Graduate Week. This afternoon, I'm pleased to say that we're joined by the team from Virgin Media O2. They'll be telling you all about what life is really like as a graduate in this busy, fast-moving company. They'll be talking about everything from new ventures all the way through to top tips for your assessment centre. But before I hand over to the team, just need to let you know that any questions can be asked in the chat box. We will group them together and present them to the team after they finish their presentation. If you've got any problems using the chat facility, you can email us at info@careermap.co.uk. That's info@careermap.co.uk. I'll put that link at the top of the chat as well. Just so you know, the session is being recorded. It will be available on demand on the National Graduate Week website in about a week or so. There's an awful lot to get through, so give us a bit of time. If you need anything in the immediate, the here and the now, though, I would say screenshot away and ask any questions. And I think this is pretty much my cue to disappear until the Q&A and hand over to the team.
Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you everyone for joining us. So we're Virgin Media O2 and we're really excited to be here for this National Graduate Week session. We're really excited to be speaking to you all today and we hope that you find it really informative. So we'll be running through some information about the company, about our graduate schemes and the benefits of joining us. So my name is Keris and I am the Future Careers Specialist at Virgin Media O2. On the call today with me, I have two of my colleagues. So Adela, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Keris. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Adela. I'm the Future Careers Recruitment Lead and I'm leading on the recruitment campaign 2022 of our intake of graduates and interns. And I'm here today to talk to you about the recruitment process and answer any questions you may have. Over to you, Elvis.
Hi everyone, my name is Elvis and I'm currently on the Technology Innovation grad scheme at Virgin Media O2. Just really excited to see everyone on here today and to have the opportunity to share my experiences and insights into the company and to just answer any questions that you may have. Really looking forward to speaking to you all shortly.
Thank you guys for that. So we wanted to kick off the session by diving into some information about the company and what we offer. So this year, two iconic brands joined forces. As of the 1st of June 2021, Virgin Media and O2 joined forces. We combined the UK's largest mobile network with a broadband network offering the fastest and most widely available broadband speeds. So as a result of this, it's a 50-50 joint venture between our parent companies. They are Liberty Global and Telefonica. And we are now one of the UK's largest businesses. We've got some really exciting times ahead, so it's a brilliant time to be joining us and lots of opportunities to be taking hold of. So what services do we offer? I'm sure many of you guys will be familiar with this, but we were the UK's first quad play provider and also the world's largest Virgin company. So this means that we supply our customers with television, broadband, landline and mobile services. With O2 joining us, we are supercharging our offering. So we are kind of trying out new innovations, and one of the most exciting ones is our 5G rollout. This is currently happening over 150 towns and cities in the UK. So our Meaningful Connections plan, a lot of you probably will be interested in this. As a company, we really care about our impact on society and making sure that this is a positive one. So it's not just about doing the right thing or future-proofing our business. It's about creating a brand that our customers love and trust. So our Meaningful Connections plan translates this into three main areas that we're focusing on. The first one is people, the second one is communities, and the third one is the planet. So the plan translates this into those three main areas, and we're really passionate about kind of making those real tangible outcomes, really. So in terms of that people aspect, we're passionate about creating opportunities for everyone, whether that be accessing opportunities through our connectivity services or actually through training and employment with us as a business. That second point, we're aiming to bring together communities and connect people to others with a real hope of reducing loneliness, which is something that's been kind of a really prominent topic, obviously, over the lockdowns that we've been experiencing. And finally, we are also working towards becoming net zero in relation to carbon and waste in our operations. This is by about 2025. So that's a big goal, but something we're definitely working towards. And what does this mean for you guys? Well, every employee at Virgin Media O2 now gets 5 volunteering days a year. So that's quite generous. And that means you can take those days off to kind of volunteer wherever you like. But we really promote kind of contributing to those goals, really, that we speak about in this Meaningful Connections plan. So moving on to our Future Careers Committee. Joining Virgin Media O2 means joining a really large community across Virgin Media and our operating companies. So we've created a Future Careers Committee, and this has representation across our apprentice, intern and graduate programmes. The primary purpose of this is to give employees on scheme a voice so that we can take your insight and use it to continuously improve, whilst also encouraging people to use that voice to connect to others in similar positions. So if we flick to the next slide, you'll be able to see a map. As you can see, the community is spread all over the UK. So since 2008, we've actually hired over 2,000 apprentices and over 500 graduates and interns. This gives our employees a massive network to reach out to and showcases the continued success of the schemes, really. And now I just want to hand over to Adela for the next couple of slides. She's going to speak over our schemes that we've got on offer this year and also the recruitment process, which you guys, I'm sure, will be very interested in.
Thank you. So I hope all of this sparked your interest in our schemes and you would like to find out a little bit more about what we have to offer. So we will be going live with our applications at the beginning of November. In the meantime, if you want to kind of like take a step to make sure that you will be notified about when the applications go live, I just posted in the chat a link to our Future Careers website where you can register your interest. Once you register your interest, you will receive an email once the scheme that you are interested in will go live, so you will not miss your opportunity to apply with us. We are going live with our schemes in staggered dates within November. So this means that the applications will open for a shorter window, and this allows us that you as our candidates will not be hanging around for a long time to get your feedback, and we will process you through all the different stages that I will talk about a little bit later quickly. So as you can see all on the screen, these are all the schemes that we offer this year. All our schemes are 2-year schemes, except for the finance scheme, which is a 3-year scheme with 12 month rotations. So if I talk to you a little bit about the schemes that we have to offer, so our finance scheme, as I said, is a 3-year scheme. If you join this scheme, you will be gaining knowledge in specialist areas like treasury, investor relations, group reporting, technical accounting, tax, strategy, and many, many others. So there's a lot to pick from. Within our business scheme, you will get different types of rotation in wholesale and direct, and you will have exposure to commercial, product, operations, marketing, and delivery. Our sales schemes offer rotation in business-to-business sales, and you will learn how to profile and tailor your approach to each customer selling services they need. Our technology scheme offers 4 rotations across the product portfolio, getting involved in project management, strategy, network operation, tech ventures, video engineering, software development, automation, and again, many, many others. So there's a lot to get involved with. Our digital scheme is a brand new scheme for this year, and there will be rotations possible in digital product, design, cybersecurity, data governance, analytics, strategy, and digital transformation. Commercial product and marketing. In this scheme, you will be involved with crafting proposition, developing online journeys, launching new products, building strategies, and creating award-winning marketing campaigns. If you haven't heard about Vault yet, I recommend you search this, as it's our brand new hot off the press proposition. If you want to kind of like find out a bit more about what you might be involved on the marketing scheme. And finally, the technology and transformation business management is another new scheme for this year. And this scheme will bring you onto working in the network expansion team, covering data and insight, transformation, commercial design and delivery. So that was kind of like talking a little bit about our schemes. So what the recruitment process is going to look like. So there are a few steps that kind of like comprise the full stage before we get to the offer. So firstly, we will ask you to complete your registration or application form. It's a simple online form that gives you the chance to tell us a little bit about yourself. You will only need to complete the form, so there is no need to have a CV for us. Then we will move on to the situational judgment test. So this may sound daunting, but don't worry. We have an example prepared for you, so you can give it a little bit of a test. But also it is a very simple test that helps us understand a little bit more about the work situation you are most suited to, or perhaps those that you may not be.
Adela, would you like me to put this on now or just hold off?
Hold off for the moment. We will have we'll try to test that in a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, just give me a cue when you're ready.
I will. Thank you. So following the situational judgment test, you will move on to the video interview. So this is a series of questions that you will need to record your answers to. So don't worry, we will provide you with a test question, and also there is thinking time allowed for each of the question. So again, this stage gives us more chance to learn a bit about your aspirations and motivations. Then we will move on to the coaching call. So this is a non-assessed part of the process, and it's a one-to-one chat with us to help you prepare for the final stage, which will be the virtual assessment center. So it's really providing the opportunity for you to ask any questions you may have and get you prepared for the biggest and most important day. To support also your process, we will run online web chats that you can join through the throughout the kind of like any of the stages to ask more questions about the scheme that you are applying for, about the process itself. And we also offer a candidate test session. So if you want to make sure that the technology is working as it should on the day of the virtual assessment center, we do recommend joining this session, as kind of it gives you the peace of mind to make sure that, you know, like your computer is working, your connection is strong enough, and we can hear you clearly and loudly. And yes, then the virtual assessment center itself is the final stage of the recruitment process. It allows us to get to know you, but also it will introduce you to our fun company culture. It will kind of like give you a chance to meet what could be your future friends and colleagues. As you can see on the screen, you will receive feedback from us at every stage, and also all candidates have the opportunity to get feedback whether kind of like you are successful or not. And we are hoping that by providing you this feedback and the insight on your performance, you can it can help with your personal development. Okay, so if we move onto the interactive SJT session, as I mentioned, is part of the recruitment process, and we want to give you an opportunity to kind of like try what this might be like and test yourself a little bit. So Heather, if you could put the first poll in for us, please. So I will give you about 30 seconds to read the example question, and then another 30 seconds to pick what you think is the most appropriate scenario out of the 4 that we have on the screen. So you can kind of like see how you would react in this situation, and what, as I said, what you think is the most appropriate one. So I'm going to give you about 50 seconds now to read through it and pick your answer.
I was going to say it was looking a bit quiet on the poll there. Come on, guys. Lovely. Adela, tell me when you want me to shut this off.
Will do, thank you. Okay, Heather, so we can stop the poll now. Looking at the answers, I can see the majority of you picked the second option, which is indeed correct, and this is the most appropriate scenario, because in this scenario is most efficient and would provide the most accurate results. With regards to the least appropriate scenario, this would be the option 4, and I can see that none of our attendees selected option 4, which is great to hear, because whilst you're waiting for your body to come back to the office, you are unable to progress any of your work. So that was great. I can also see that some of you picked option the first and the third option. So these options are not bad or good, but it's just not kind of like ticking the most appropriate answer for us. So they are so-called distractor options. So now you know how we operate. We want to give you kind of like a chance to test yourself again to see if you can get it right this time, if you happened to not get the right answer in the first case. So if I move on to the second question, again, I give you a minute to read through the question and to pick the most appropriate answer. If you get a chance, you can maybe in your mind think about the least appropriate one as well, and I'll give you the answers in a bit. Okay, Heather, can we please stop the poll? Okay, thank you. So again, well done to those of you who picked option 3 or option C in the poll as the most appropriate one. The reason why we think this is the most appropriate option is that because in this option, you are showing your initiative and willingness to help your colleague when you identify that they're struggling with something that is one of your strengths. And we think that option 2, which is the option B, is the least appropriate one, because essentially you are going behind your colleague's back when your colleague might have spoken to you in confidence and they may not appreciate your intervention with their supervisor. So well done to everyone, and well done to those of you who picked option number 3. So I hope this kind of like give you the insight on how the situational judgment tests work and what we are looking for. If you kind of like all the questions in our situational judgment test are linked to our values and what we believe in as a company. So if you kind of like want to make sure that you are prepared before you go into this stage of the recruitment process, make sure that you read a little bit about the company and find out a bit more about our values and what we really care about. Okay, so then you passed all the stages of the recruitment process and you got yourself to the virtual assessment center day. So what it's going to look like. So The pre-assessment preparation stage is kind of like the points that I discussed about before. I would really recommend that you take advantage of the coaching call, of any of the support sessions that we provide you throughout the process, so you can ask as many questions as you might have, and you learn about kind of like what to anticipate on the day. We will introduce you on the day with our kind of like a welcome, in which you will get to meet us and our scheme leaders. You will find out more about the company, and also we will kind of like set the expectations for the day. You will know what to expect and how the day is going to run. From there, we will move on to the actual assessment part of the day that consists of the group exercise, case study, and interview. So in the group exercise, we are going to split you into a group of 4 candidates. We will have a facilitator in the group exercise that is going to kind of like explain how things work. And we will be testing a number of competencies as part of this session, mainly how you work with other people. We will also have assessors in the session that will be from the business area, observing kind of like the different aspects of the session. We will then move on to the case study, which you will initially work on your own to complete an individual task, and you will then meet with the assessor to discuss your findings. And finally, in the interview, we will get to learn a bit more about you and your background, and you will also get a chance to chat about the role and how suited you are to the opportunity. Okay, so that was about the recruitment process, and I will now hand over to Caris, who can tell you a little bit about the hints and tips and maybe her experience from when she joined the company as an intern.
Thank you, Adela. Definitely. So, yeah, moving on to some hints and tips for the assessment centres. I can speak about this from a personal perspective. As Adela just mentioned, when I first joined the company, I joined as an intern in our people division. So I had to go through the exact same recruitment process that we've just spoken about. And I've got some pointers that you might find useful. But due to COVID-19 restrictions, we have had to transition our assessment centres to a virtual setting. So these tips will relate to that, really. So the first one is do your research. I think this is really key, probably a fairly obvious one, but it shows your interest in the company that you're applying for. It makes sure that you're checking that you're a good fit for the culture and the values. And it also helps you decide your motivations and your interest in applying. So that's something that you may need to explain in the process. The second one is join one of our test sessions. That's really important, especially now it's in a virtual setting. So as Adela mentioned, we run multiple of these before the assessment centre, and we'll just be checking you can join the session and that your video and your audio are working. It will save you a lot of stress on the day and mitigate any issues that could be causing everything to go wrong. So then the third one is to sign on early. This is always encouraged because if you then do end up with any issues that were a bit unexpected on the day, we can try and sort these before the sessions begin. The fourth one is setting up some of your own space. So this needs to kind of happen in a virtual setting because you're not going to come to the office. So you need to find some space where it's quiet, you're not going to get distracted, and you've got a pen and paper ready that you can use throughout the day for the different activities. Excuse me. And finally, asking questions, that's always encouraged. So it's not just about us getting to know you, it's about you getting to know the company. You need to figure out if the role and the company culture is a good fit for you too. So if we haven't convinced you enough yet to join us, let me run you through the benefits. Excuse me, winter cold coming. So we offer a really competitive starting salary. It's £30,000 a year. And we offer an amazing welcome bonus as well that you'll be paid for starting with us. So that is £2,000. You will have salary uptakes throughout the scheme. So you'll be progressing even before you graduate from the programme. We also offer all of our graduates a permanent contract, meaning that you will be guaranteed a landing role. And when you start this landing role, this should also be a salary increase as well. So moving on to more of the Virgin Media O2 benefits as well. We'll chat you through kind of the rewards and the benefits associated with joining us. So our graduate schemes, as we just mentioned, start on a really good salary. They offer you that unexpected welcome bonus. Throughout the schemes, you will be rotating in different business areas. So that gives you amazing experience throughout the scheme. And when you do decide to roll off and find that landing role, hopefully you'll be able to kind of understand a little bit more about what you enjoy and maybe what you don't enjoy so much. We also have a dedicated learning and development plan to improve your soft skills and learn more about platforms like LinkedIn. So that's an extra benefit of joining us on the graduate scheme instead of just as an employee. So moving on to the Virgin Media O2 employee benefits, you're going to get 25 days holiday, bank holidays on top of that, and your birthday day off. You've got the flexibility to also buy or sell up to 5 days holiday a year. You will have access to Bupa healthcare, so private health insurance, and also a great pension plan. One of the big ones is My Rates and Mates Rates. So that is discounts on our products for you, your family, and your friends. And you'll also get other Virgin Group discounts as well. So a lot to kind of pick from, really. There's a lot on offer from this package. What I'm going to do is pass over to Elvis. So he was one of our former interns and is now a technology graduate. He can speak to you a little bit more about his experiences and answer any questions that you may have. So over to you, Elvis.
Hello. Yes, as mentioned before, my name's Elvis. I'm on the T&I graduate scheme with my first rotation in IP engineering and logical deployment. Just a little bit about myself. I have a bachelor's in chemical engineering from Aston University. And as Karis mentioned, I also spent my placement year in industry on the VM02 internship scheme. So I got a little bit of experience with regard to that as well. So yeah, I really hope you've all found the session today to be quite informative and insightful. Yeah, myself and the team are really happy to take on any questions you may have for us, may it be directly regarding the scheme or with regards to our experiences with the company.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. That was a wonderful presentation. I suppose on that note, it would be quite a good question to lead on about how would you describe the culture at the organisation?
Lovely.
I don't know who wants to take this. Elvis, do you want to take this from an intern and grad perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to take this first question. Yeah,
Great,
it's a really good question. If I had to summarize it, I'd say it's all about the people. And we're not just talking about the customers that we really value and we care about in terms of the service we provide, but also the employees as well. I think even before COVID times, the culture at VM02 has always been very people orientated. We've always provided quite an agile and flexible working that focuses on empowering the employees to work in the best way they can, because everyone works differently. We can't all be expected to work in the same way. And the culture at VM02 really supports the talent that we've taken. And it's not always about the work as well. I think we're always big on building connections that really matter. So it might just be a case of grabbing coffee together, or even if a case of just dropping a message to get to know someone new. It's something that's always encouraged, and something that was really appealing for myself returning as a graduate. And yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about the company, is that you'll find loads of open and like-minded people all around you and in VM02. So yeah, so never be shy to pop up and just say hello, I'd say.
Great answer. Elvis, another one that is directed at you. It would be
Yes.
fabulous if you could answer it, which is, what made you choose VM02 as an organisation to work for compared to others?
Yeah, lovely question. I think in particular with myself as well, that you might find with other graduates, is that I actually come from, as I mentioned, a chemical engineering background. So for a lot of the people out there might think it's a bit weird to transition from chem eng to a telecoms company. So I think I was mainly steered by my experience on my internship scheme. I did apply to a lot of other chemical engineering companies such as GSK, Unilever, like all the big firms on that one. But I think related to my previous point, it's a lot to do with the culture as well. I think for me, trying to find a place that really empowers the employees and really cares about your growth and development rather than just the work you do directly was one of the big factors that really drew me into Virgin Media O2. Obviously, alongside with all the lovely benefits as well, and the pays just on the plus side. But I'd say really the people as well. I felt really welcome from day one. I think a lot of people has the idea with internships that you just go in, you do some paperwork, you make coffees and stuff. But from day one, I was kind of thrown in the deep end, part of the team straight from the get-go, and just working on lots of exciting stuff. And it's not disappointed ever since coming back on the grad scheme.
Does it, if you complete an internship with the organisation, does it give you a pass to the graduate scheme at all?
I'll let Karis and Della take over that, if that's okay.
Yeah, I can take that one. So what we do is we offer fast track from our intern to our graduate scheme. So if you are interested in coming back, which we find most of our interns are, then instead of completing the process again that Adela spoke about, you would go straight into an interview with the scheme sponsor. So normally you're applying from your intern scheme to the graduate scheme that directly relates. So from like a finance internship to the finance graduate scheme. So you should roughly know the sponsor and the kind of people that you're speaking to, but they will ask you kind of some motivational questions, and they should have a pretty good gauge of you already as to whether they would like you to come back. But yeah, the only stage in the process for that kind of transition is just that sponsor interview. And we do find that a lot of our interns come back as graduates.
Brilliant. Thanks, Karis. Right, then a couple of questions have just popped in from Sarah and Josie, and they're more around can you gain further qualifications or take part in more training on the scheme?
Yeah. Do you want me to take that one, Adela, or would you?
Yep, go on.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely in our finance scheme, you will be taking CIMA, so that's all funded. You'll get study leave for that. You'll be taking all of your exams that you are not potentially exempt from with your degree. So that is on the finance scheme. On some of the other schemes, like our business scheme, there's the potential to take some project management qualifications, Prince 2, and some of the more agile approaches as well. And then on the commercial product and marketing side, there's potential to take some marketing qualifications. So it's kind of, on some of the schemes they're a given. Obviously with finance, it's a bit of a given that you'll definitely be completing your CIMA qualification. But with the others, there's just lots of opportunity. And on top of those formal qualifications, we've just actually rolled out a new learning and development plan for our graduates, which will be, well, it's starting now. And you guys, if you were to apply and be successful, you would be enrolled onto that as well. So there's lots of kind of sessions, and we've gone and spoken to our current graduates to find out what they found most useful and redevelop the plan. So it's things like how you build a business case, presentation skills, insight sessions onto your personality to see kind of how you work best. There's lots of things on that learning and development program that you will be doing as an extra to your role. So we're investing in you and your professional growth as well as your personal growth within role.
Brilliant. Okay, that's brilliant. Just on the subject of the types of roles that are available, Michael says, do you offer AI-based roles?
I'm happy to take that one. That's Chris. Yeah, I'd say within the technology innovation scheme, there's definitely the potential for rotations that may work on AI, as is one of the exciting kind of future directions that the company can take and integrate into our work. But it's a case of whether or not it'll be directly or indirectly in which the rotations provided will explore that avenue. It might just be looking into its application in automation of certain processes and functions, or just to explore it in general. Kind of as mentioned before, I think the rotations are really dynamic, and there's a lot of progressive changes that are happening even as you're on the scheme. So even if there isn't one that's directly available right now or when you're on the scheme, you're always more than encouraged to talk to various mentors and support systems you have in place, maybe a line manager, maybe a scheme sponsors. And yeah, as long as you kind of show your interest in this, they always have to support you. And more often than not, the rotation opportunity can be created given the appetite for it. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, perfect. Well, if we can just hang on to you for a moment there, Elvis, I've got a question for you. It's from Paul, and it says, what is it like being a grad on the scheme, and what kind of projects do you get to work on?
Oh, lovely question. Yeah, it's a really good question. I think if I firstly tackle what it's like to be a graduate, I think that'll probably be easiest, because rather than just rambling on about a long list, I think being a graduate at the company honestly really puts you in a really valuable position. And talking to a lot of mentors and people around me, they've always kind of agreed with that as well. But due to the nature of the rotations, you really in a really fortunate position to be able to get a flavor of different aspects of the company. I think as a fresh graduate coming out of university, it's quite daunting to know where you would settle in. And if you were fixed in one role, it's really hard to gauge whether or not that is the right place for you. So I think in that respect, it's a really good position to be in. In terms of the types of projects you can work on, it will be very broad and very fluid, really depending on the rotations you decide to pick on. So from personal experience, my internship scheme was I was given a capacity planning role. So that was very much a consistent work piece that is all about the continual supervision and improvement of a specific platform that I managed. But right now, my current rotation in IP engineering and logical deployment is all about the next new thing, the next new project and the next new deployment that we need to do, which is a really kind of different compared to what I had to do before. And if you want to go into project management, I think that's something that will be even more kind of project focused, with timelines that will be looking at maybe a few months or half a year, whereas other roles you might be looking at doing the same thing over the time span of 1 year or the whole 6 months. So it can be really varied depending on where you land.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alice. That's a great answer. An interesting one has just popped in through here from Helen. It says, how do you see the business changing in the next 5 years, and what job roles might be available in the future for grads?
Okay, I can answer that one. So I think it is really hard to speak about 5 years because currently everything is changing from day to day. So as you can see on the screen, in June, we kind of like joint ventures with O2. We are currently working on new proposition. What does this mean for us as a new joint company? What new products and services can we start offering to our customers? Certainly, there are some buzzwords that we keep hearing more and more in the business, which are words like digital, change, transformation. So if I was to guess, in the next 5 years, this will be the way forward, and this is where we will see more and more graduate opportunities pop up.
Okay, lovely. Simon's just asked a question, and it really just touches on what you were talking about before, Albus, around what your experience with the scheme is and projects and so on. But if you could just answer this in particular, Simon says, do you get to take ownerships of the projects that you work on, or is your hand held all the way through it?
Oh, that's a really good question. No, absolutely. I think you definitely can slap your name on the pieces of work you do, and I think you should be really proud of the work you do as well, because sometimes there are big projects that you can work on, and it can really have an impact. I think I saw on LinkedIn the other day where one of the graduates across her year that she worked, she was actually directly working with the Vault, one of the products that's actually been thrown out, and she was really proud of to actually be a part of that, and to see her work actually be put to the forefront. With regards to whether or not your hands are held throughout the whole process, they can be if they need to be. It's probably the easiest way to answer it. How I see it is that no question's ever a stupid question, and you can't be expected to know everything in the world. So at any points that you might need help, you're more than happy to ask. And there are lots of people with many years of experiences that would be more than happy to answer. But it's kind of expected to the case of, we're expected to really integrate you with the team straight away. If you ever need to ask for help, you can throw your hand up. But if not, we're more than happy to let you get on and to really just let you find your place. So it's a mixture. Your hand can be held if needed, but you're more than happy to take the lead and just lead the project itself.
Brilliant. Thanks, Albus. I'm going to join two questions together here from Sarah and Sally, which were, can I register my interest in more than one area, and what are the minimum entry requirements for the schemes?
I can take this one. Adley, you might want to take the minimum entry requirements actually, but you can unfortunately only register your interest you can register your interest to get the email to ping through when the scheme's open. So you should be able to register your interest for all of those, but then when you actually come to apply, you can only apply for the one scheme. So at the moment, we're going through a few website updates. These will all be complete by the start of November. That's, as Adela mentioned, when we're going live with our schemes, there'll be a staggered approach throughout November. So my advice would be is to go on the website, register your interest, and then you'll get an email ping through to you when our applications are live, and it will mean you just won't miss the deadline. So that's probably the best way to go about it. Adela, would you like to speak about the minimum requirements?
Yes, so with regards to the minimum requirement, this will be 2-to-1 as a minimum for across all the schemes, and some of the schemes require a STEM qualification. So, for example, the technology one, you will need to have kind of like a previous experience and a degree from a STEM-based subject. We are still finalizing some of these bits, but you will definitely be able to find the final criteria on the adverts when we go live in a couple of weeks.
Brilliant. That's really, really helpful. Okay, can I apply if I am from overseas?
I would say definitely yes, you can apply. However, you need to have the right to work in the UK in order for us to consider you for the scheme, and also kind of like just to set the expectation, if you are offered the role, we will expect you to relocate and live in the UK for the duration of the program, as obviously one of the very important parts of the graduate scheme is being able to build connections, and despite COVID, we are still encouraging our graduates and interns to come into the office and to kind of like create those relationships which are best made in person, of course.
Yeah, brilliant. Dom has asked, what are the progression opportunities like, and are there many opportunities to travel?
I can take this one. So obviously we've spoken about progressing from intern to graduate scheme, so you've kind of got that perspective in the bag already. But when you actually join the graduate scheme, there's a lot of progression routes really. So you join us on a level 3 role, and by the end of your scheme, we would expect you to be rolling off on a level 4 role, potentially, if very successful in some departments, a level 5. So the process of what happens really is when you finish your scheme, you'll be looking for a landing role. Our team will support you in that. Like I mentioned previously, it's a permanent contract, so you will be getting a role, but you just have a lot of influence as to kind of where you want to go with it. So we support you in progressing to kind of whatever area you want to progress to, and we naturally expect that will be a role uplift as well as salary, as previously mentioned as well. And then kind of the idea of the graduate programs really is that we're recruiting our future leaders. So we want people who have progressed throughout the business, who have got lots of experience in different areas, and that's what you naturally gain from the graduate program. So just in the whole kind of premise of the program, we are promoting progression really. So that covers the first question. The second question, with opportunities to travel, the schemes we offer at the moment are all based in the UK. So some of our main locations are our head office in Reading. We've got an office in Hammersmith in London as well, in Leeds, Manchester and Birmingham. So it kind of depends on the scheme as to where your rotations are. But I mentioned in my first slide, our parent companies are Liberty Global and Telefonica. So they are based and have operations predominantly in Europe. So there's actually quite a lot of opportunity between our operating companies to potentially kind of move roles. We always say when you're in a company, it's much easier to make that internal move. So definitely once you kind of graduate the graduate program, there should be opportunities to travel, and there'll be travel opportunities within the UK based on your rotations.
Great. That leads on to quite a specific question here from Jason. Do you have any openings for the scheme in Hereford?
Hereford is not a location on our list at the moment. I'm not sure what scheme he might be referring to. Okay. That's not one of, we don't have a head office there, so I don't expect that we would have a role available there.
Okay. No. Dom says, do you recommend any resources to practice for the application tests?
Adela, I'm not sure if you've got a view on this. Well, with the application form, that's just questions that we ask you. So that's not really, you don't really need any practice for that one. With the situational judgment test, obviously we've gone through the questions within this session already, just 2 example ones. And then in terms of the video interview, I think Adela mentioned what you do have at the start of that is a practice question. So you'll be able to see how it's like laid out on the site and see what would be expected of you, and have a go at thinking of an answer in that time frame, and recording yourself. So personally, I think we've covered a few things there. I don't know of any other external resources. Adela, have you put on that one?
Yeah, so what I would say is that we are hiring on potential. So it's not about kind of like your previous experience, what you worked, or where you worked before. I mean, obviously, if you have any relevant experience, it can be used. But basically, the way we kind of like run the process is that we have a set of what's the word I'm looking for?
Criteria?
Anyway, so there is, as I said, it's kind of like based on the potential. So it's not that we would kind of like expect you to, I don't know, do any technical tests, or I don't know, test you on your Excel skills, things like this. It's more about kind of like how you behave in certain situations, or how you would approach certain situations.
Brilliant. Thank you. In the last 5 minutes, we've literally had about 150 extra people join us. So hello, everybody. You've probably missed an awful lot of the questions and answers, but if there's anything that you would just like to pop into the chat now, we will do our best to answer the questions in the next 10 minutes or so. Alternatively, I don't know whether you guys can just pop in the chat box any links to information on your website where we can just direct kind of latecomers to. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Let me flick through to our scheme slide as well, just so everybody can see what we have available for this year's schemes too.
Brilliant.
Guys who have missed the first part of that call, we have actually directed most people to our website. At the moment, we're just going through a few website updates, but we are going live with schemes in November, and you can register your interest now. So you will get an email when all of our schemes open that will take you through to our website where you can apply, but also you'll have all the most up-to-date information there at the start of November as well. So that's probably helpful.
Brilliant. Somebody asked earlier whether there's anywhere that they can register their interest for 2023.
Not for 2023 at the moment, but I would say if you kind of like hold on that thought until the end of the year, I think, because as I mentioned previously, we are going to run quick application window, so we will be closed for applications quite quickly actually. So towards the end of the year, we will put a new link on the website to kind of like start for candidates to be able to register their interest for the schemes for 2023.
Marvellous. I'm going to ask a question from Craig next, and then after that, within the last 5-10 minutes, I'll be directing some questions at you, Elvis, just around your own personal experiences. All right, just I think is a nice note to end on. But Craig is just asking here: are there any opportunities to study for an MBA with you?
So at the moment, we've got some kind of equivalent level qualifications. Like I previously mentioned, it really depends on your scheme. I think on the commercial product and marketing scheme, there's potential talk of an equivalent like MBA level style qualification in marketing. So there's definitely lots of opportunity for kind of more personal and professional progression in the form of these qualifications, but it really depends on your scheme. And also sometimes manager discretion as well, if we feel it's going to be helpful in role. So yeah, there's lots of training opportunities, whether that be kind of soft skills in our learning and development programme or those qualifications as well.
Marvellous. That's super helpful. Right then, Elvis, I think we would like to know what you have specifically learned on the scheme, professionally and personally, since graduating.
Oh, that's a good question. Professionally and personally, I've learned from the scheme. I think a really big personal had a progressive intake that I've kind of got from the scheme, I think in particular, especially from the internship as well, because obviously that was for a year and I've only been part of the graduate scheme for about 5 weeks now, over a month. But I think it really is just kind of embedding myself into the culture and also just having the right mentality as well, kind of referring back to kind of Adela's point before with regards to the actual application process. I think it's really about going to the mindset of having the right mentality and really making sure you fit into the culture, and the mindset is the main focus. And that's why in the early on, in terms of recruitment process, it's all about your situational judgment test. It's all about a video interview. It's not a technical test about how capable you are on Excel, how capable you are on coding. Those are skills you can pick up. It's all about whether or not you have the potential and whether or not you have the right mindset and you fit in the culture to be able to just really fit in and work alongside everyone, and all the hard skills you can pick up on the way. So I think that's one thing that I really kind of come to realize. I think from a chemical engineering background, I was very worried that I didn't have CCNA qualifications and the right foundation for it. But it really is a case of figuring out that it's a two-way process. And so I say don't be disheartened if you've applied for certain places and they've rejected you, because I think it's a case of it's whether or not you fit in the culture. And even if you manage to find all the perfect answers and find your way in, it might not be what's right for you. In terms of professional, in terms of workload, I think I've learned a lot. I think especially with Virgin Media O2 with a lot of companies, there's a lot of acronyms thrown around. I think I've made, and alongside the graduates, we've made like a little acronyms bank. Like it goes far over 200, and it's hard to remember them all completely. And sometimes in conversations they get thrown around, and you'll just be lost and you'll just be smiling and nodding along. But I think it's just being able to and be open about asking questions. I think a really important motto that everyone will always say is that no question's a super question. So really just ask away, and everyone's always very willing and very helpful to answer any questions you have. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
That it does answer the question, and that's actually been a very, very common piece of advice throughout this whole week, which has been all around really communicating. Like you said, so many people have said no question is too silly, and if you can, have the confidence and the ability to ask questions, and it'll really help stand you in good stead. So yeah, that mirrors a lot of what we've seen this week. Right then, there's about 5 minutes to go. I've got one final question for Elvis, but if there's anyone else that wants to just quickly nip something into the chat, this is your final call. I will just ask you Elvis's final question. In your experience, and I suppose actually this can go to everybody, it's just going to be looked at from a slightly different perspective. What are the do's and the don'ts of the application process?
Karis, Della, do you guys want to take this one first?
Yeah.
Have a little break.
Yeah. So I guess there's no specific do's and don'ts as such. Obviously in that application form at the start we have some things that obviously we require, things like right to work, the things like you have a degree that's completed, a minimum requirement of grade, etc. So making sure that you comply with all those is a bit of a first, really. Things we look for, as Elvis mentioned, is kind of value fit. So we're really interested in how you kind of link in with our company values, whether you're going to be able to work well with our people and offer the kind of service and interaction that we would expect to our customers as well if you were in those kind of roles. So that's one thing that we really expect. I guess a don't would be to kind of just turn up and hope for the best. We would be interested in your motivations as to why you would like to apply to the company, and what you're interested in doing here, what you kind of see, where you see yourself going a little bit. So definitely do's, I guess, is to check that you comply with everything and check that it would be a good fit for you, as Elvis mentioned. and then don't sort of be, you know, just to kind of ping in another graduate application like you might have done to multiple other schemes. Maybe just have a little think about why you would want to, have a look around the website, and then as long as you've got your motivations clear, it's good for you and it's also good for us because we know that you've got genuine interest. Because like we said, we're looking for the person, we're not looking for necessarily their experience. I think one of the questions I saw pop up was, is it strength based or is it experience based, this recruitment process? We don't expect you guys to have lots of, you know, years worth of work experience, because that's not how graduates work, you know. We're looking for kind of how you come across as a person, where you've developed skills and competencies that we might be interested in, and that doesn't have to be in a workplace. It could be in a previous part-time job or a summer internship that you might have done, or it could be in some volunteering, or it could be in university. So there's lots of things that we're looking for, but the main point is that we're looking for the person and not necessarily, oh, okay, you're an expert in project management, because we're not expecting that yet. That's what the scheme is there to do. So don't worry, guys, if that's what you're thinking.
Brilliant.
Yeah, lovely put, Karis. I think Karis highlighted all the key points with that. I'd say don't wear a full suit. No, I'm just kidding. I think it really is just a case of just really, like, I think really go in with the open mind, like I said. Be transparent, be honest. I think a big don't talk about certain qualifications or experiences you have if you haven't had it, because there's no need. I think a lot of these things, if you're transparent and open and show that you're willing to learn, I think that's really, really key. I think one of the do's is just, I know it sounds really weird, and obviously you're in a very competitive kind of environment, and we're always told that everyone's your enemy, you gotta, you know, work against them, and it's all everyone for themselves. But just enjoy the process. Maybe the people who come across, the other candidates, if you're successful enough to get to the assessment center, just enjoy meeting people. You know, there's a high chance that you might not cross paths again in the future, but if you do and you end up on the scheme, it will be really, really beneficial to you. I think that's all about the culture as well. I really do enjoy the application process.
Is it would you be able to get on
bear
to
with
do
me? Sorry, I'm
the
just going to
questions
interrupt
for it,
you.
or is anyone else doing the questions for it?
Andrew. I don't know what's happening here. We've got an imposter, we've got a gremlin on the line, guys.
I think Andrew would like to share with that.
I know. Who is this? Sorry, I just completely stopped your flow then, Elvis.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so I think carry on, and I think then that might be my cue to wind up.
Right, okay.
Stuff. I think again, just enjoy the process as well. Have fun. And just and get to know the people as well.
The other ones, I made a list of them on a bit.
Sorry, just get to know the people as well.
Yeah, that's what I did last time. So.
Right, I don't know what's going on here, but we have only got 2 minutes to go. Elvis, I think that's been such a comprehensive answer, and all of your input at this session has been phenomenal.
Right.
I think it's my time just to remind the audience, the 950 people
that
are here, just to know that the session is going to be available on the National Graduate Week website on demand in a couple of weeks or so. The link to the website is in the chat here. To Adela, Karis and Elvis, thank you so much for putting together such a comprehensive and insightful presentation. I'd like to thank you as well. Have you guys got any kind of final words before we sign off?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining the session. We've really enjoyed presenting to you today, and we really hope that we've kind of sparked your interest in the schemes. I feel like we've gone over a fair bit of information, so if that hasn't stuck, like we've previously mentioned, just head to the website and register your interest. It will ping you when applications are open, staggered throughout November, and we'll be having the date information on the website at that point. So you've got the schemes in front of you now on the slide, and hopefully there'll be something of interest to you. Adela, Elvis, any other remarks there?
No, thank you, Karis, thank you, Heather, and thank you, Elvis. It's been really nice opportunity to talk to you about what we have to offer, and I hope to get to meet some of you in the process later on. Good luck.
Definitely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.